Baltimore Ravens have had a pretty active offseason so far, but how will that impact their 2025 draft? My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we've got another 3-round mock draft for you for the Baltimore Ravens. But before we get into that, let's do all the YouTube things: subscribe, like, leave a comment, and tackle that bell to get notified when new videos come out. And Ryan, Baltimore Ravens, now they have lost some key guys, but added on some key guys in free agency, such as they lost Patrick McCarry, and they made a decision to re-sign Ronnie Stanley, but they have also brought in DeAndre Hopkins, helping out that receiving room as well. I know he's on the latter side of his career, but still, I think it's a good improvement overall in that receiving room for Lamar Jackson. So how will they approach this draft? I think when it comes to this first round pick, a lot of different ways. I think they can end up going the way the board ended up falling for us is, I know you re-signed Ronnie Stanley there, but I think you go get an athletic guy like Josh Simmons as well. And I think you can help move him around the offensive line. If Josh Simmons didn't end up getting hurt, he could have absolutely been a top 5 pick. Honestly, your Patriots probably would have taken him at 4 and solidified your left
Probably.
tackle spot if he didn't
Yeah.
get injured. So where Josh Simmons is going to go in this draft is going to be very interesting overall, because you go watch his film before his injury this year, and the dude's just an absolute stud, super explosive, manhandling these guys, these top prospects that are coming up here in this draft class and the next year's draft class as well. So Ryan, what are your thoughts on Josh Simmons and what he would bring here to the Ravens offensive line?
Yeah, I will say in those 5 games they were playing Marshall and a few non-Power 4 schools. But with that being said, he was so dominant, and he had a decent bit of hype coming into the season, but he looked like he had really improved in over the offseason. So I was really looking forward to seeing him. I think what he brings to the table is he's their left tackle of the future. You mentioned, I mean, he'd be a top 5, top 10 pick easily. I think if he had played the rest of the season the way that he did in those first 5 games. So, I mean, also looking at Ronnie Stanley's contract, there is a potential out after 2026. He is, what is he, 32 now?
He was drafted in 16, so
No, he just turned 31 actually on March 18th. So he's 31. So I think they get their left tackle of the future, keep Lamar Jackson upright in that pocket. That's something that's just going to be really important for this team going forward. He also has some experience at right tackle. I know they just drafted Roger Rosengarten, who had a really good rookie season for them, but I do think that he brings some good flexibility, and I like what they've done. So
yeah.
all,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, all in all, it's not the best pick, I think, for 2025. But I do think going forward, this is going to be a pick that they really are thankful that they made in 2026 and beyond.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things too. Ronnie Stanley, he's been injury prone as well, and as you said, the contract's not super not team friendly, so to say. And so there are some outs in the foreseeable future where if Stanley gets hurt, which is a huge possibility, then Josh Simmons comes in. Also, too, with the severity of his leg injury that he received, I think it allows more time for them to for him to rehab and to train and to develop. And we've seen the Ravens do stuff like this before. For example, Andrew Voorhees tore his ACL in the 2023 combine, fell all the way to the 7th round, and he would have been a top 100 pick, if not maybe even a second round pick. And they got him in the 7th round, and now he's their starter. So I think this could fit in the logic there. I would totally understand why they wouldn't want to go offensive line with their first pick. If they wanted to go skill position player again, get some more guys in there, or maybe somebody on the defensive side of the ball. I can absolutely see that as well. But I think one of the areas too is the defensive side. I really like what they've got going on within that front 7, and the secondary really picked up, especially too when Adarius Washington came in and was like the primary free safety for that team. I thought he fit really well and kind of put everything together. So it's when you're the Ravens, it's just where can you find the most value? And Simmons falling to him here, I think, is the best long-term value.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like when you just think about Lamar Jackson being there, he'll be there for another 10-ish years, hopefully. So I think getting Josh Simmons, who can be the left tackle for that length, even though it is a bit of a risk with his injury, definitely worth it. If they want to go with a player that could play right now, I think Donovan Jackson would be another guy on the O line that can fill in for the loss of Patrick McCarry. If they want to go offensive weapon, Luther Burden is so intriguing. He's fallen a lot. His draft stock has really fallen in the eyes of the draft community. I think kind of going forward for him, if he can make it here to Baltimore, I know that there's a little bit of overlap there with Zay Flowers, but if you can get both of those guys on the field, that's a lot of speed and athleticism and yard after catch ability that just most teams don't have. And then Jaden Higgins, if you want that outside kind of jump ball receiver, he has the ability to separate vertically. He has some deceptive speed to him. He's by no means a burner like Luther Burden, but I think that there are some interesting options here at the back end of the first round if they want
Yeah.
an offensive lineman to play now or a skill position player that's going to come in and make an impact.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the interesting things too. You talk about with Jaden Higgins. If we look at their second round pick, they're picking at 59. I would love Jaden Higgins, especially too. Then to be behind DeAndre Hopkins as well and kind of develop. I just don't think he's going to be there, and so that's why I don't think it'd be too much of a reach if they love him. Then like take him there at
Yeah.
27, get that extra year of control. But they end up not doing that. We ended up not doing any trades at all throughout the entire 3 round mock draft. I think a guy like Tre Harris would be of similar value as well, have that athletic capability, maybe need some time to develop. But you put him on the outside, I think he could end up being a great complement to Zay Flowers. And we've seen him at Ole Miss. Just you kind of get the ball in his hands and he can make some magic happen. I think he's got to work on his route like it is route running craft as a whole. And I know you have similar thoughts about this as well too. But what do you think Tre Harris would bring to this team here if drafted in the second round?
It's not necessarily that he needs to work on his route running. He just wasn't asked to run a lot of
Fair.
different routes. Like he ran go balls, slants, deep posts, and like that was really kind of it. And so he's going to have a much more complex route tree at the
Fair.
NFL level, and so it's just more of an unknown with him. With that being said, I mean he has great build up speed. He's not the most explosive guy. I like Tre Harris. I think this is really good value. When you think about what Baltimore would need, I think he fits that to a T. They need a big outside wide receiver that's going to win down the field and be able to separate down the field because they have Zay Flowers. Rashad Bateman has done a good job of kind of developing that short and middle route part of his game. And so I think that that's going to be a really good fit just for them. He does have some injury concerns and he is a bit of an older prospect. But with that being said, a lot of times those guys are just more ready to play in the NFL strength wise. And so I think if they can get him up to speed mentally, I think he's ready to go. Also, he's really good at the catch point. He has strong hands and he's made some
Yeah.
acrobatic catches over there at Ole Miss. So I really like it. Again, if they want to go with that interior offensive line, I think Wyatt Milam would be a good pick here. He's a tackle that's going to kick into guard, but he has that ferocity and violence that you want in an interior offensive lineman, especially for a team like Baltimore that's going to want to run the ball downhill as much as they do. Benjamin Morrison, stick to that Notre Dame secondary pipeline. He would be a top 20 pick, but he has a bad hip. And so that's kind of knocking his draft stock, although he's only 20. So hopefully it's not a career altering issue. And Ty Felton would just be another interesting option there. At this point, you go look, Savion Williams went 2 picks before this. Tre Harris was the pick here. Jack Besh is another wide receiver. Ty Felton went about 14 picks later. So like there are a lot of intriguing wide receiver options. Jalen Royals is another name that we didn't mention. So this is kind of that sweet spot where I feel like you're going to get really good value at wide receiver. So let's move on to their last pick here. And this is going to be the edge rusher from Oregon, Jordan Burch, a bit of a bigger guy. So I think he's really going to kick in and kind of be that 3-4 defensive end and not be that outside linebacker. But I think you just go watching the progress that he's made throughout his college career. And he's definitely worth the top 100 pick. I like his explosiveness for a bigger, I think he's like 280, 290. And so I like his explosiveness for a guy that is that size. And I think he would just bring a nice presence to that defensive line as an edge rusher, or that 3-4 end that they would really like.
Yeah. And once again, it just seems like just no matter what, John Harbaugh has one of the top defenses
Yeah.
in the league, especially when it comes to front seven and then that run stuffing capability. So I think some more guys I can just get after the quarterback. Obviously, Kyle Van Noy had an amazing year last year, but can he replicate that again? You want to go and find some more guys that can keep providing that pressure as well. I think Jordan Burch can go and do that. And so they want to address the secondary. This would be a good spot here. This is about going to be about where that kind of late day 2, early day 3 wave of cornerbacks go if they want to build some more depth there. But my one thing with that though is I like what they've done with the cornerback room and how it's shaping up. Like drafting Nate Wiggins last year, he's developing, but I think he could still be really good. Odarius Washington is who I already talked about as well. Kyle Hamilton, I would say Kyle Hamilton is okay. I'm just joking around. He's one of the best safeties in the league, and so they did end up signing Chidobe Awuzie as well too in free agency, and then you still got Marlon Humphrey also too. So it's like that starting secondary I really like. So I think if they can just get some more pass pressure, or maybe just another guy to develop it. I mean, maybe in case if one of those guys gets hurt and develop for the long term, similar I think to Josh Simmons. Uh, I'm open to seeing them go either direction. So Ravens, once again, as I really like the roster kind of through reviewing it. Like, could you be nitpicky like how we kind of have been maybe in some spots? Yes, of course, you can always be nitpicky. But I think the biggest issue for Baltimore right now is just kind of what's going on in between the ears, just having that confidence to we
Yeah,
can beat Patrick Mahomes, we can beat Josh Allen, like we can be one of the best teams in the league. And it's in 2023 they were way better than Kansas City, and then but they just couldn't do it. They almost beat Buffalo in Buffalo. They had the
they
opportunity to go
should
and
have
do it. They
really,
should
but
have, you know. And shoot, even last year too in 2024. Of course, it was early on, and this is when the secondary was really having troubles. But like they blew some games, like they gave
yeah,
up so many passing yards. So, and I think a lot of that stuff is what's going on in between the ears. If it's just confidence going from there, but you look at this roster, I'd pair this roster up to amongst many of the other teams. One
oh yeah,
area is like you want to address the receiving position, which they already did. You got DeAndre Hopkins, future Hall of Famer there. I know he's later on in his career, yes. But other than that, like I still really like what they've got. Lamar Jackson's MVP caliber. You got Derrick Henry, future Hall of Famer as well back there. So it's just a matter of just can they believe that they can do it? I think they can do it. It's they just need to when put in that moment, just got to deliver.
yeah. No, I 100% agree. Like they have all the talent. I think it's just the mental side of things that's been holding them back. So I hope they can do it. One, I love seeing more competition in the AFC as a Patriots fan. I want these teams to get up there and really start competing because I think the more I don't say parity because that's not quite the right word, but the more competition, the better the product is, and the NFC is catching up, and so we can't let that happen. But
Yeah.
on that note, let's go ahead. Let's wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on what you thought of this Ravens 3-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently? Than that, we'll see you guys next time.